Hello everyone! Yes, today ay mamamasyal tayo at gagamitin natin ang GoPro na regalo ni Papa Bear at scooter na regalo din ni Papa Bear. So, magdadrive ako at sa kalsada sa kalsada ng Athens. So, itutur ko kayo dito sa Athens, Greece. So, History of Athens. Athens is one of the oldest named cities in the world, having been continuously inhabited for perhaps 5,000 years. Situated in southern Europe, Athens became the leading city of ancient Greece in the first millennium BC. And its cultural achievements during the 5th century BC laid the foundations of Western civilization. During the early Middle Ages, the city experienced a decline, then recovered under the later Byzantine Empire, and was relatively prosperous during the period of the Crusades, 12th centuries and 13th centuries, benefiting from Italian trade. Following a period of sharp decline under the rule of the Ottoman Empire, Athens re-emerged in the 19th century as the capital of the independent and self-governing Greek state. The name of Athens, connected to the name of its patron goddess Athena, originates from an earlier pre-Greek language. The origin myth explaining how Athens acquired this name through the legendary contest between Poseidon and Athena was described by Herodotus, Apollodorus, Ovid, Plutarch, Pausanias, and all others. It even became the theme of the sculpture of the west pediment of the Parthenon. Both Athena and Poseidon requested to be patrons of the city and to give their name to it. So, they competed with offering the city one gift each. Poseidon produced a spring by striking the ground with his trident, symbolizing naval power. Athena created the olive tree, symbolizing peace and prosperity. The Athenians, under their ruler Cecrops, accepted the olive tree and named the city after Athena. Later, the southern Italian city of Paestum was founded under the name of Poseidon at about 600 BC. A sacred olive tree said to be the one created by the goddess was still kept on the Acropolis at the time of Pausanias or 2nd century AD. It was located by the temple of Pandrusus next to the Parthenon. According to Herodotus, the tree had been burnt down during the Persian Wars, but a shoot sprang from the stump. The Greeks saw this as a symbol that Athena still had her mark there on the city. Plato in his dialogue, Cratylus offers his own etymology of Athena's name, connecting it to the phrase Theonoia or Theonios. Theonesis, the mind of God. Gnosis. Theonesis, the mind of God. And There is evidence that the site on which the Acropolis High City stands was first inhabited in the Neolithic period, perhaps as a defensible settlement around the end of the 4th millennium BC or a little later. The site is a natural defensive position which commands the surrounding plains. It is located about 20 kilometers inland from the Saronic Gulf in the center of the Cepisian Plain, a fertile valley surrounded by rivers. To the east lies Mount Hymettus, to the north Mount Pentelicus. Ancient Athens is the first millennium BC occupied a very small area compared to the sprawling metropolis of modern Greece. The ancient walled city encompassed an area measuring about 2 kilometers from east to the west and slightly less than that from north to south. Although at its peak, the ancient city had suburbs extending well beyond these walls. The Acropolis was situated just south of the center of this walled area, the Agora. The commercial and social center of the city lay about 400 meters north of the Acropolis, in what is now the Monastiraki district, the hill of the Peaks, where the Athenian assembly met, lay at the western end of the city. The Eridanus River flowed through the city. One of the most important religious sites in ancient Athens was the Temple of Athena, known today as the Parthenon, which stood on top of the Acropolis, where its evocative ruins still stand. Two other major religious sites, Temple of Hephaestus and Temple of Olympian Zeus. Athens has been inhabited from Neolithic times, possibly from the end of the 4th millennium BC over 500 years. The settlement had become an important center of the Mycenaean civilization, and the Acropolis was the site of major Mycenaean fortress whose remains can be recognized from sections of the characteristic Cyclopean walls. On the summit of the Acropolis below the later Eretheon cutting in the rock have been identified as the location of Mycenaean Palace between 1250 and 1200 BC. To feed the needs of the Mycenaean settlement, a staircase was built down a cleft in the rock to reach the water supply, what was protected from enemy incursions comparable to similar works carried out at Mycenaean. Reform and democracy. The reforms that Solon initiated dealt with both political and economic issues. The economic power of the Eupatridae was reduced by providing the enslavement of Athenian cities as a punishment for debt by breaking up large landed estates and freeing up trade and commerce, which allowed the emerge of a prosperous urban trading class. Politically, Solon divided the Athenians into 4 classes based on their wealth and their ability to perform military service. The poorest class, the Thetai, ancient Greek, who formed the majority of the population, received political rights for the first time and were able to vote in the ecclesia assembly, but only the upper classes could hold political office. The Areopagus continued to exist, but its powers were reduced. Okay, that's what is their history. And now, let's go next. The new system laid the foundation for what eventually became Athenian democracy, but in the short term, it failed to quell class conflict, and after 20 years of unrest, the Popular Party led by Pisistratos seized power. Pisistratos is usually called a tyrant, but the Greek word tyrannos does not mean a cruel and despotic ruler, merely one who took power by force. Pisistratos was in fact a very popular ruler who made Athens wealthy, powerful, and center of culture. He preserved the Solonian Constitute but made sure that he and his family held all the offices of state. Pisistratus built the first aqueduct tunnel at Athens, which most likely had its sources on the slopes of Mount Hymettus and along the Islissos River. It supplied, among other structures, the fountain house in the south corner of the agora, but it had a number of branches. In the 4th century BC, it was replaced by a system of terracotta pipes in a stone-built underground channel, sometimes called the Hymettus Aqueduct. And also, the reform of Cleanthes replaced the traditional 4 tribes with 10 new ones named after legendary heroes, and having no class basis, they were in fact electorates. Most public offices were filled by a lot, although the 10 generals were elected. This system remained remarkably stable, and few brief interruptions, it remained in place for 170 years. So, let's go next. Let's go now to Roman Athens. Okay guys, ang haba ng aking history for Athens. Pero for now, dito muna tayo sa supermarket at kakain muna ako. Napagod ako sa pagbabasa ng history nila. Ang haba guys. So, to be continued. Thank you for watching. Yasas!